guys, so a couple months ago I bought this quick hitch for the 1023. I always kind of kept my eye out for them. The one from John Deere, I think they call it an iMatch, they wanted over $300 for that thing, and I don't know exactly if it's the same, but it looked the same to me. And I ended up picking this one up here at Rural King for $89 on sale. And so far so good on it. And it requires these bushings to go over your pins, which were $16 per pair, I believe. So I had to do some modifications on the box blade to make it work for the top link. As you can see here, this was all added. Basically, these arms here used to come up and bolt in here, and then your top link pin was here. Well, it didn't give enough room for this hook to hook in here. So I cut these arms and welded this C channel on, and then put a bolt with a bigger bushing on top of it to kind of hold it all together there. And that works out really well. So we got a pretty big snowstorm, and it's supposed to stay pretty cold and get even more snow, so it was time to plow the driveway. And I hadn't had my back blade out yet since I got the quick hitch, so I had to put my bushings on the pins and get it hooked up, and I found out that it's not the right height. Now, when I bought this back blade, I bought it used. Guy had it sitting underneath of a trailer for a lot of years, so I think I paid $75 for it, and it was a category 0. So what I did was I added this C channel on the bottom here to get more width out of it and put the Cat 1 pins in, and I welded these gussets on the bottom. But I didn't change the height of the top link, so I figured out, trying to hook it up to this, that I had to do that. Now I just needed to get the driveway plowed, so I just put this ratchet strap on here to hold this in, and it worked fine. But I want to make this right, so basically I'm just going to have to raise this top link up to the same height as the box blade. So let's work on that, see what kind of material we have to work with, and we'll get started on that. I don't think I have any flat stock, but I'm thinking this angle iron will work out just fine. Yeah, I think that'll do just fine. Probably have to put it on the outside though, because I don't want that to be too tight in there. That'll keep it nice and strong. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't push much weight with this thing. Matter of fact, ever since I got the box blade, the only thing I use this thing for is to push snow. After I got the box blade, I did use this back blade a little bit when I was doing driveway jobs to get my final finish on the driveway, but I have since learned how to angle this box blade the different ways needed, and I can finish it just fine with it now. So this thing here just sits until it snows. So, and you'll have to excuse the mess my tractor is right now. be towing it while it was snowing. The road grime and stuff just coated it, and I don't have a steam cleaner, so I don't really want to pressure wash it with cold water while it's 20 degrees out. It'll freeze everything up. So it's just going to have to sit like that for a little while. All right, well, we'll get started here. Alright, so I want to bring this up 2.5 inches higher from the top. So the top of what's here is going to come up 2.5 inches to the top of the new piece. I think I'm going to redo this crap too, because I don't want that in the way. So I think I'm going to kind of do the same thing I did on the box plate with the C channel on the back. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut this out. And then I'll extend these up. And then I'll work on the bracing in the back afterwards. So the center of the hole is going to have to be 1 3/8 above the top of the existing piece. You'll have to forgive my torch cutting. Still kind of learning as I go here with it, but I was able to get it all cut out, and I burnt the welds off too, so I probably just got to touch that up a little bit with a grinder. And I'll measure where I need to cut this at, and I'll just cut it off there as well. But for now, this is looking all right, so moving along. I'm going to use an old Sears Craftsman Industrial 4.5-inch angle grinder. I use this to cut most of my steel, and it works really well. This was my grandpa's angle grinder, so it's pretty old, and it still works really good. And it definitely does not compare to Sears or Craftsman's newer power tools, which I have had no luck with. And the blade I'm using is a Lenox METALMAX. It's like a diamond wheel, and I had one. I've had it for a lot of years, probably 3 years. and I got this one as a sample, and I've used it a lot, and it didn't dull out or wear down, but what I did was I dropped it and I bent one of these fins, and I tried to bend it back, but it just never was right again. So that's the one bad thing about these, is if you drop it, you know, you're done. It's a little more expensive than the abrasive wheels, so but they last a lot longer if you take care of it. So. And then there were two. So go ahead and lay out the holes here and get that drilled in. So kind of a funny story about this drill press. I got this for free. My dad was driving down the road, an old back road, and it was just laying in the ditch. It's pretty old. It's a DeWalt. So he picked it up and took it home and brought it over to me, because he didn't really have any room or a need for it. So I plugged it in and it fired right up. The only problem was the chuck was running out real bad. There was something wrong with it. I don't know if it got bent or what have you, but at the local hardware store, I picked up this chuck here. I think it was like $30 for a half-inch chuck, and it works great. The only thing I don't like is the table that looks like it wasn't the original table. It has the up and down knob here, but there's nowhere for it to bite, so you got to kind of raise and lower it by hand, which is fine, but it's just not as convenient or precise, I guess you could say. Alright, so we need to go to, what did I say, 360 C1. Right, so this needs Alright, I'm going to deburr these and time to tack them on. Alright, so one of the easiest ways to separate something like this, if it springs in, is to grab a bolt that fits in there with a nut on it, and you can back that nut off. So you would use, a wrench on the bolt head, a wrench on the nut, and basically loosen the nut off of the bolt, which will act as a press to push out on the steel. Now, of course, I guess I shouldn't say it's the easiest way, because the easiest way would be use a porta-power, put a jack in there. But if you don't have one, which I do, but it has a leaking seal, so I can't build pressure on it, so I gotta fix that at some point. But this should be at just over 1 3/4 inches. So we have it there now, 1 13/16. All right, let's throw some tickety tacks down on there. I could just hear my brother now. You're a grinder, not a welder. Huh. So I wasn't moving fast enough over here. I moved faster over here and that came out pretty nice. That looks nice. I just can't weld vertical, I guess. Still had a little bit of leftover John Deere green from Tractor Supply. it's all done. Turned out real well. Welds are not the best. I'm sure my brother takes one look at those, he'll want to put a couple of good beads on there, but hey, I think it'll work. I'll put another coat of paint on that after this one dries. Not bad for just some scrap I had laying around. It's funny, this blade started off as a 60-inch Woods Cat 0, and I have now transformed it into a Cat 1 quick hitch compatible Woods 60-inch back blade. So there's a few more things that I want to do to this here. This pivot plate was missing when I got it. The bolts are broke off in here, so I'm going to repair that, because if I ever want to spin it around, it drops through. It's kind of a pain. It's doable, but it's, like I said, it's a pain. And then I'd also like to fab up some kind of kickstand for the bottom of this. Either that, or I'll just get a stump or something cut to the right size, which that actually sounds like a better idea. Because if I put a kickstand on it, then I guess I defeat the purpose of the quick hitch. I actually got to get off the tractor and deal with that. But better than picking it up and down. So I'll just maybe just find something to set it on for now. But so there you go. All done.